Hey guys, my name is Tim Sawyer, business partner and owner of Tru-Male Medical, a men's health and sexual performance clinic located in Oak Brook, Illinois, just outside the Oak Brook Mall. And I'm super excited tonight to have with us Casey Calicki and Kelly Kaczynski. Casey has the unique distinction of being one of the first clients at Tru-Male Medical to enroll in the groundbreaking treatment REGENmax. REGENmax is the first and only globally patented treatment for the reversal of erectile dysfunction. Casey has been in the protocol now for 7 months. He is not a paid spokesperson. He's a great guy who has had a positive experience with REGENmax, and he's come forward and wanted to spend some time with us tonight and talk about his personal journey with REGENmax. He has an amazing story to tell. He's not being compensated for this. And if you or someone you know is interested in improving your sexual performance or struggling with sexual dysfunction, you definitely want to listen to Casey tell his story. And it's been great just getting to know you for a few minutes tonight, Casey. I really do appreciate it. This is not a sales pitch. This is Casey offering to give back in the hopes of encouraging more men to come forward and get the help they deserve to live life to the fullest for as long as they and we possibly can. I'm grateful for Casey stepping up and encouraging you to share this after watching it. Also on hand tonight is Kelly Kaczynski. As I mentioned, Kelly is the lead nurse practitioner at Tru-Male, currently leading the clinical team under the guidance of Dr. Robert Marshall. Many of you have met Kelly and met Dr. Marshall. Kelly has been with Casey every step of the way, and we are grateful to have her here with us tonight to provide her insight, because she's actually one of the people providing these treatments for a lot of men. On a good day, Kelly sees 15 to 20 men. I don't know how she does it. Probably legally. We don't give her a break. She can't get a glass of water, and but the demand for her schedule is big. So we're super grateful for that. So with all that said, I'd like to introduce Casey and thank you for taking some time with us tonight. And if you just want to introduce yourself, Casey, and talk a little bit about your background.
Hi. So I'm past my 50s now. I'm 60 and came to a time in my life where the sexual function wasn't just what it should be. And I have also come to understand that that's a really common thing, like 50-50 common type of thing. So what are we going to do about it? What am I going to do about it? I work in the field. I work in the science field. So in my job, I'm actually known as the finder of things. I did a good amount of research on what do I do about this thing, and you see some places that offer the pulse waves, and you see some testosterone boosters. Frank Thomas and Doug Flutie even put their hand in the pot.
Everybody is.
But nothing seemed real complete. I actually, using the internet, top ranked facilities, and I found Tru-Male. I called Tru-Male. I contacted quite a few places, and Tru-Male was a place where somebody actually picked up the phone and I could actually talk to somebody about what's going on here. And I really got lucky in this sense, I'm going to say, because in those initial conversations, I found out that they do treatments like I had heard about, like I had seen. But then I found out that they have a new patented program. I didn't know at the time that I was one of the first, that I was in the first, so to speak, graduating class. But so it is. And I'm okay. I'm totally okay with that. I'm more than okay with that. And so to understand that they have a patented program, I've never patented anything myself, but I can only imagine the work that goes through to get a world patent. And so here's a complete system. Let's give it a go.
And it's amazing, and we're grateful that you did find us. And around just a little background around that patent protocol, as someone who's a fan of science first, it took about 15 years. So we didn't have a chance to talk about it, but Jeff Newsiard, who's the actual founder and the inventor, got ED at 40, and he was a big burly guy, and he set to work, and like you, he had a background in science, and he was pretty knowledgeable with laser physics. And he believed that the key to the whole thing was the ability to transfer heat from the exterior to the interior into what's called the corpus cavernosum and regenerate collagen. And that was the big breakthrough. So everybody was doing, to your point, testosterone. Everybody was kind of doing shockwave therapy. Some call it Gainswave. And some people were fooling around with PRP, which is platelet-rich plasma. And we use exosomes. And that was the big breakthrough to get the patent. But with that said, I want to kind of set the tone for the conversation, and really understand the considerations, because I think these are the big things, Casey, that guys are wondering, and this is what's really important. One is, as you were thinking about the treatment, what considerations went into that, right? So you're looking at the cost of it, you're looking at the provider, you're looking at the experience, the time commitment, right? It's not, this isn't a simple fix, right? It's a time commitment. And then can you trust this place, right?
Yeah.
Ultimately making the leap, what led you to make the leap. And then the treatments themselves. We want to talk about what those physical treatments were like, what you were experiencing. Was it painful? How long did it take? So the first thing I guess we want to talk about around the considerations is, what was the number one thing you said, you know what? First of all, what was the trigger that said, I'm going to go do this research? And then what was your criteria to make the decision? How are you going to pick somebody?
Number one was, is it going to work? It was coming more and more to a point in my life where sexual relations weren't as satisfying as I was used to, or as I wanted it to be, or it could be, or it should be in the future. And so, is it going to work? And I didn't know. How am I going to know? There wasn't a lot of supporting information like we're talking about right now. But what I did know is that from my research, that this was the place that I would have my best chance. And I did know that it was something that I definitely want to do. I want to find that value. There's money spent, right? You mentioned that. There's a concern, there's money spent. Will I be able to find the value that in that investment? The story will come out. I can tell you 7 months later, the value that I've received is well beyond the money that I've paid, and have had, sorry for getting a little emotional, but very satisfying sex life over the last several months of my life.
First of all, amen.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's great. It's amen. And so, having said that, how do you, because there's so much noise, Casey, right now in the internet and TV, and people boasting claims that, 90% success rate for, to 80 to whatever. And it's got to be disheartening for folks who go through that time and again, and then it doesn't work. And I can't imagine what that's
Right.
like, sir.
Right.
So I guess the takeaway on that is, um, there's got to be some research, right? And and when you heard that, hey, this isn't a 1 day fix, this is going to take a minute. How did you like? Because I would think most guys are seeking instant gratification at that point, right?
Yeah, there's no way. You can't write a check and make it happen. Um, I find it really unique, and because I really didn't know on day one how long. I mean, I maybe I did. I just don't remember knowing that it's a 1 year treatment, and there was a decision up front whether to do. And forgive me if the term is not right, but the pulse wave. Um, there was a form of treatment that works for a lot of guys,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
then there was the full REGENmax.
Yep.
And so here I am at a decision: do I go part way in or do I go all the way in? And that was a pretty easy one for me. If you're going to do it, go all the way in. So 1 year treatment, and it's on average, Kelly, what, every other week?
Every other week, because yeah, every other week. And if it wasn't going to be every other week, we, doing it the advanced protocol, if it wasn't, um, we weren't reaching the full potential by the first 6 to 8 treatments, if you remember.
Yep.
Um, I
We'd do it more
gauged,
often.
yeah, we gauged it and we would do it more often. But you have been such a great um, client that we we had to do every other week. Responsive, I should say.
Well,
You-
there's an important part, and one thing that I think about is, what do you do? So there's treatment at the office, or yeah,
Yep.
every other week. Um, there are treatment things you do at home every other day.
Yep.
And then there are lifestyle things on the side. That's really not what we're talking about now. But if you think about the treatment every other week in the office on average,
Yep.
and then doing your own exercises at home every other day, that is a lot of time. I think I calculated it out to something like 56 hours over a year.
Yeah.
Um, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's not like you're gonna have a surgery and you're gonna fix it 70% or not, right?
Right.
Uh, try this one thing. No. And so I'll say this: when I went to my first visit, first treatment, sign up, sign the papers, all that. I almost turned around. I really did.
Really.
I was on 83.
And
Almost.
what was your thinking, man? Were you like, this is bullshit. I'm not doing
It's
this.
that kind of like, like, let me find one more review. Let me pull over and find one more
Yeah.
review. And I said, no, here I go. There's some things you just have to go for. And I had my first visit, and okay. It's a small office. It turns
Yeah.
out to be very much a family feel. I know everybody in that office, and I
How can you not?
know a little bit about their lives, if not a lot about their lives.
Yeah.
Um, but and huge props for Kelly. She's my therapist. She's there every time. There are some other ones who are great too, and I've had someone, Kelly's out of town or something, but it was on my second visit, and I guess Kelly's, let me go ahead and say, a caregiver at first.
Yep.
She's a nurse practitioner.
Yep.
That's pretty high level, and she's caregiver first, and she recognized something in me that, like, I didn't have the confidence that I needed. I didn't have, is it going to work? I don't know. Are you worried about it? Yeah, I'm worried about it. Of course I'm worried about it. And Kelly said to me that, hey, this isn't free, Casey. You paid for it. we're not going to leave you without being successful. You're here for a year. If we need to do more, we'll do more. And we have the tools, we have the resources. This is going to work. We're not going to let you fail.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
And that's when I got all in, you know. Confidence goes a long way with a lot of things. And so that's when I said, yep, this is going to work. And we got down to the, you know, we can talk about the details of the treatment, but got down to the nitty gritty. And polish up that sand and fine magic dust comes out.
I think confidence is one of the biggest things. And if I'm not confident in you, then how are you going to be confident in what's going on? If I'm not confident this is going to help you, then how are you going to be confident, you know, writing that check and coming in every other week or whatever? And I am very confident in what we're doing and believe in what we're doing.
And so if you think about it, if you look at the primary causes of these types of issues, there's relational. We can't do much about that, right? We could provide, I guess, some online dating sites that might be better, and can find a partner. Not sure we want to subscribe to that model, but so it's relational, it's physical, which we have certainly enough data and science around that. That's covered ground. And then it's psychological. And so what we spend a lot of time, and Kelly is certainly as good at this as anyone, is instilling, to your point, a sense of confidence that, hey, it's going to take a minute, right? But if you stick with it, we like you said, we will make this work for you.
Yeah.
And that comes through in what you're saying. And as you know, as an owner in the clinic, you know, that's the type of stuff that we love to hear, right? Is that you guys are connecting on a level that's instilling confidence to do the work. Because like you said, and what's interesting too, Casey, is when you said, you know, so you calculated the annual commitment, 56 hours, right? So let's say call it
solid
80, whatever that number is, right? So if someone said, yeah, I want to feel better this year and I want to lose weight, and this is where the goal I'm trying to get to, it's a noble goal. And you said, okay, it's going to take 56 hours. Most people, if they had the confidence that the result would be there, and it was 60 hours, they'd go, 60 hours. I'll do that. Right. If you think about, but it's the ability to connect the work with the outcome that usually disrupts that, right? Because they go, well, I don't want to do it, or it's not going to, they don't feel like it's going to work. And I feel like Kelly's doing a nice job of conveying that, hey, if you do this. And I read in some of the notes that you sent to me talking about doing the homework, penis pump, right? Not everyone likes to talk about it, but there's a pump involved, right? And that pump is an integral part of establishing long-term success, right? It's like lifting weights. That's what's funny. Like guys want to get bigger muscles, they lift weights.
Yeah.
You know, Dr. Marshall's so funny. You know, he's given his age. He said something, Casey, you'll appreciate this. And we were doing a webinar. You may have been on it. We were doing a webinar, and he said, well, you know, I'm still a young guy. I'm 76. So I do these treatments mostly for preventative maintenance, not having a lot of problems now, but who knows, 10 years from now, as I get older, maybe I'll have a problem. So I do these so he's putting in 60 hours a year for preventative maintenance at, you know, 110.
Yes, he is.
Where were you 10 years ago, Dr. Marshall?
I know.
That is freaking hysterical. And I know everyone's on that call going, what the hell is this guy?
I know. You got to know Dr. Marshall.
And, you know, these poor normal humans.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's funny. But I do want to talk, and I really appreciate all the time tonight, man. It means a lot. And it means a lot to a lot of people. So the aspects that get into the details a little bit here in the weeds. So you got to get your testosterone right. That's the first thing we do as a panel. We want to get your testosterone right. And so we handle that with the pellet insertion. That's a physical thing, right?
Yeah.
The next thing is we have the he shot, which is our own proprietary REGENmax's own proprietary blend of exosomes. And then you've got shockwave therapy. That's that bullet machine that goes dit, 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 dit. And then
Yep.
you've got the laser itself,
Yep.
right? So kind of walk us through. So when you got your first pellet insertion, what's that feel like? And is that a big deal? And
Nah, it's not a big deal. Kelly was more worried about it than I was.
Well, because I'm a perfectionist, Casey.
Uh, so, as I understand it, they're testosterone pellets. They go in your butt,
yep,
in one of your cheeks, and I guess it could be a different number of pellets depending on your testosterone level.
yep.
Whatever that unit of measure is in count, mine were in the 300s.
Wow.
And we want it to be close to 1,000.
Yep, optimal.
Uh-huh. So that and no fault to anybody. It's just what happens over time in age that we start to lose our testosterone levels. It's natural. But let's do something about it. So the testosterone shots, they go in. You can't. You don't. I'm a runner. I'm
Yep.
a long distance runner.
Okay.
And Kelly said, "Don't run for a week." And I said, "Okay." And then we were my girlfriend and I were going in a restaurant, and it was kind of nasty, windy, cold out, and I ran towards the door and I said, "Oops, I know why Kelly said don't run for the first
Yeah.
week." So it's a thing.
Yep.
It's not a big deal though. It really isn't. And if it starts bringing it, I've had my second round, and
Yep.
really not a big deal, especially the second time around. And so it brings up your testosterone levels. The
And when do we do the he shot, Kelly? So what's the
The very first to second treatment.
Yeah.
It's either we do it all in one shot, depending on timing.
Yeah.
P shot or not P shot. I'm sorry, the he shot, the pellets, and the laser and the regen wave, which is the pulsing machine. Or break it up. I think with Casey, I think we did your he shot, the treatment, and then brought you back for the pellets the second. So I had to wait for your blood. So we're kind of like doing it a little differently now. Getting the blood first, getting the blood draw first. But I think
Sure.
when we first started with Casey 7 months ago, I had to get his blood first
Yeah.
and then wait. So I wanted to get the first part of the treatment and then come back and he came back in 1 week and got the
Okay.
pellets and another treatment. And then we did every other just because of the blood work. But
So you're on this bi-weekly cadence, you're getting your he shot. And then when Casey, did you start to feel a little different and from a sensation standpoint, or starting to feel like, maybe this is going to work?
Yeah. So, well, let me say about that he shot. It is a shot. It's no worse than getting a flu shot in the arm. It does go in your penis.
Yep.
But it's just okay, this is going to sound like a pun, but it's just a little prick.
that's what Tim says all the time.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
It's a little prick to make a big prick.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow, that's even worse.
Now for folks watching this, and there's going to be a lot of people going to watch this and love this, because a lot of people are familiar with the P shot, and you and I talked a little bit about this via email. The P shot is platelet-rich plasma, which is drawn from the arm. I've done this 3 times with Kelly. We like it as a treatment. It's not part of the REGENmax protocol for a variety of reasons. And some of the downsides to the P shot is it's actually 5 shots each time. And the he shot, Kelly, how is that different?
It is just two
shots.
2 little injections. It's 1 ml, 0.5 and 0.5 in the base of the penis, in that corpus cavernosum, that spongy tissue.
Yep.
Um, and so it's a little less than the P shot, but
So
on a
it's less shots and
less shot.
less shots and less volume of fluid going into the cavernosum, which
Yes,
is
And
correct.
those two shots were on the same day, weren't they?
Yeah, it's right.
yeah.
Yeah, like just right at the same time. Yeah, one after the next.
Yeah.
So when you do the P shot, Casey, it's 5 shots. It's 2 in the base, 2 in the middle, and then the kill shot, as I call it. But it doesn't. I've done it 3 times. No numbing age or anything. The kill shot goes in the tip, not in the hole, but
No,
in the
like
tip.
right below. Yeah.
And you feel it. You know, the one in the 4 in the bottom, you nothing. The one in the tip, you feel that a little bit more. So that you have the he shot, you
Yeah.
experience that. Now you're starting your biweekly cadence, like I said, and then getting back to the question of when do you start to feel like, hey, this is making a difference?
So my treatment started at the very beginning of November. I think it might have been November 1st, close to. And not gonna know the date, but it was in November. I know that. I was actually shopping with my girlfriend at Victoria's Secret. Hey, and I got this big old heart on in my pants.
Wow.
And I'm like,
Amen.
this is like the good old days, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
Don't simmer down, don't let anybody see.
Right.
Walk away. This is like the good old days. So yeah, that happened. I do experience the morning hard-ons. But yeah, it was as
About a month.
Yeah.
So
Casey, I want to say, from what I recall, because I did look over like a little bit of your notes, this morning from the very beginning, and I think it was the second, if not third, treatment
mhm.
Got it. Of the laser and
of the
the
laser and the gains wave, and then now remember the he shot is already in, and the pellets are already starting to work as well.
right.
It was very exciting when you came in, and and we do ask those questions. We want to know, are you having these morning erections? Are you able to penetrate? How, we get pretty deep and personal, because we have to know how it's working.
Yeah.
And that was very exciting when you had said that, because that was something you weren't expecting right then and there.
That is so
So
cool, man.
A
That is
couple
so cool.
treatments. Yeah.
I'll share this. The first time, my girlfriend and I live in separate homes. The, the first time we spent a night together was at the end of November.
Mhm.
And I can tell the story because for a week, I thought, I'm not going to tell my girlfriend, I'm going to handle this on my own. That would have been a gigantic, that would have been a huge mistake. When I finally told her, and she knew something was going on. And when I finally told her, she was like, that's it. Because she knew all right, here, I told her I was going to a therapy one morning.
Yeah.
We're having breakfast one morning. What are you doing after work? Oh, I got a therapy thing I'm going to. Oh, therapy for what? Well, I wasn't prepared for.
Yeah.
So, and I've had plantar fasciitis, which as a
Yeah.
runner really kind of sucks. And I said, I've got this plantar fasciitis thing, not knowing that she has had plantar fasciitis.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
So she's watching me walk around the kitchen, and she's like, he's full of it. He doesn't have plantar fasciitis. What's he going to? And then she says, oh, I'll go with you. And I said, I don't know if you want to go with. There's a real small waiting room. There's not much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she said, no, it's fine. I'll bring my crochet. That's okay. All I need is a chair. They have a
Yeah.
chair, don't they? So now I'm,
Two.
so now I am backed into a corner. And
Yeah.
she left, we had breakfast, she left, and she didn't get 2 minutes down the road that I called her and I said, can you come back? I want to share something with you. Well, she had something to do. And so
Yeah.
she came back a couple hours later. That was like the longest 2 hours I've had in a long time, because I'm legit worried that she
Freaking
doesn't
out.
want
Yeah.
to deal with this guy,
Yep.
And so in her mind now, she knows I'm going to a therapy, and she's worried, do I have some long-term illness? Am I dealing with cancer? What's he going
Yep.
through? And so when I tell her, she's like, that's it. That is it. That's what you had me worried
Yep.
about. And she couldn't have been more than 1000% supportive.
Yes.
And that makes all the difference in the world. And then to be able to be honest about it, and quite frankly, I don't think we would have had sex as early as we did, except for I was honest about it. And I was like, well, Kelly and I are wondering, how is it going to work?
Threw me under the bus. Kelly said.
and we seriously, we would, she said she was proud of me. She said, I'm proud of you for doing this. I'm proud of you
Wow.
for doing something about it. And you know what? Let's find out if it works. So we had a night together at the end of November, and it was as good. So I had successful penetrating sex like 2 times over the previous 4 years.
Wow.
And so that first night together wasn't blockbuster fantastic, but it was as good as I could have asked for. If I could have written out my script for how well does this night go, we were able to penetrate, and it didn't stay as hard as long as I would have wanted to, but it I couldn't have written a better beginning day. And so that was at the end of November. Early December, we had a night out in Chicago at a holiday party. And this is where the zinger really comes in for Kelly. We went ahead and had sex before going out. And as we're getting dressed, ready to go out, she said, you and Kelly are full of shit. You don't really have ED. You guys set this whole thing up so I would have sex with you.
She did. And I met her shortly after that, and I was dying. It was so fun.
That's awesome.
You and Kelly are full of it. I like, if I could have designed, if I was a master man like that, if I could design that, why am I not robbing,
yeah, that's a long walk.
why am I not robbing the whole diamond from the Smithsonian right now?
I will say though, Casey, that was a huge confidence booster for you, that for getting past that first encounter with your girlfriend. That was that was your whole demeanor, I think, changed then.
Yeah.
And for in a positive way.
I'm happy. And
so amazing.
We both would have been happy no matter what together. And she's stressed that many, many times. But by the end of December, it was blockbuster fantastic.
That is absolutely the most incredible story.
And that's 2 months in.
I can't. That's incredible, man. And I think, but a lot of this speaks to your approach to this and being honest.
Yeah.
And first being honest with yourself.
Yep.
And then being honest with her. Because to me, and I've been married 32 years, and I absolutely won't make this about myself. And I've had misfires, right? And the ability to talk to my wife about that and say, hey, and you know what's funny, Casey? We think it's such this massive thing.
Yeah.
And a great partner will say, really? Like women's minds are already on to what's for dinner and what's, and we're sitting there in our heads going, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. And she's like, what are you talking?
Like,
You know how many times I've been with you where I didn't get where I want to be? Like,
yeah,
we're all good here,
Yeah.
and so I think we build up a lot of times, I won't put it on everybody, but a lot of times we build up in our brain this internal talk track that is so far afield of what a good partner thinks. They're like, what do you mean? I just had a great experience with you. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Let's shower and go do something different, right? And it'll
Yeah.
be better the next time. And I think what escalates the stress is when you don't share what you're going through, and then they're like, what's wrong with you? And then they start thinking, am I not a good partner? Did I just say something? And then the whole thing gets screwed up, and blame gets misdirected. And
yeah,
so I think what the message that there's so many really powerful takeaways from what you're sharing. Um, and what it speaks to is you're actually a powerful person, because guys guys who aren't walking in power, we want them to walk in power. They're
Yeah.
going to keep it inside. They're going to try to deal with it themselves, and they're not going to go find a true male. They're not going to find a Kelly and then be vulnerable,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And this massive strength in vulnerability in so many ways. And Kelly is someone who's trained in, okay, can she channel that vulnerability into, at some point, confidence, and then aggression, right? Or at least fun.
yeah,
And so I give you both. It's really cool just watching the interactions between the two of you, because it really does take, it's give and take, right? It's the client putting
Oh
in the
yeah.
work, and it's the provider being the encourager, understanding the science of what's going on, but also understanding what you're experiencing as a guy, right? Just a guy.
Yeah.
It's normal guy shit. And
yeah,
There's more than a few uh specific experiences in my life where I'm dealing with something I'm not necessarily proud of. And you think I can handle this by myself. And every single time, no matter what the situation, what the experience has been, what opened the floodgates to positive things has been sharing with others. Because you never know. Like if you can see it, you can reach out and touch it, and you want it, you're gonna get it, but you don't know how you're gonna get it,
yeah,
but you're gonna get it. But you don't know how until you have positive people coming along with you, helping you do the same thing you're doing.
it's an
a lot of
incredible,
trust, a lot of trust.
message. And so as we start to wind down, I guess, what is your advice, right, to guys who are in this spot where they're probably close to the end of their rope, or getting to the end of their rope with the pills, and that stuff's not working, and the quick fixes are starting to have a diminishing impact, and they're like, crap.
Well,
What do I need to do? How can I somehow get myself going here? What advice
yeah,
do you have for them?
yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of easy for me to say because I found something that works for me. Um, and to me, it seems the beauty of what Tru-Male and REGENmax does is, Kelly, I'm 100% certain it's not the same for every client. And I've heard from Kelly's mouth saying it, we have the resources, we have different approaches. We're going to tailor what is going on to you. And, it's like that. To hear somebody say you're not going to fail, this is going to work, you're not going to fail, um, that means everything. And part of it to me too is that it is a 1 year treatment. So you go down some paths that are working or not necessarily working. You learn some things that are going to work or not necessarily work. You learn some things that are definitely going to work, maybe going to work. You learn some things to stay away from, to avoid.
Right.
And a lot happens in a year, you know. How was my life different a year ago? It was a lot different than it is now
Right.
in a lot of different ways. So to have a treatment that goes over a year is really substantial. Um, and I will also say again, you can't just go in and write a check and think it's going to work. Um, we have to be open to the treatment. And Kelly's been really receptive to the feedback, to what I think is working and what I think we could try. And I had mentioned that it was blockbuster sex by the end of December. Well, it's not blockbuster sex every time.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
Right.
And that's
Well, that's
just
natural, right? Which
Yeah.
is
I
that's
think that's
natural.
probably the same for everybody.
yeah.
That's natural. Um, so but anyways, here's the end result. I really didn't have that in my vision, to be having good sex half the time or most of the times a couple years ago. But by sitting down and figuring it out and doing research and realizing this other set of plans, they just don't seem complete. Coming to this one again, I'll say I got lucky, but I found it. And uh, you know, good good work finds good luck. You make it happen. Uh, so it's been more than worth it. And this is 7 months in, and uh, there's a lot more good things to come because of the experience that I'm having now.
Uh, I'm a little at a loss for words, which Kelly knows doesn't happen much. And
No.
this has
Got
been
me all
amazing,
emotional over here, Casey.
all of us. And I think it's well, and it on a personal level, it just makes me reflect on uh, the what we're doing right in the clinic, and
Yeah, yeah,
it's you can get caught up in the roles and responsibilities and new treatments and the profit mechanisms that we're trying to put in place. And sometimes, and what I love about Tru-Male, the folks at Tru-Male and the REGENmax protocol, is the first thing Dr. Marshall said when he was introduced to this is, we have to do this, Tim. He's like, this is not an option. Like,
yeah,
if there's something out there that he looked at the clinical trial, he flew to Texas to meet with Jeff Nuziard. He actually watched him treating patients. He put time in. And then he came to the conclusion, this guy's not full of crap. This is the real deal. And he's like, we have to do it. And like I said to you, the investment just to get the laser and get the equipment and get, as a business guy, I'm going, this is a lot, and Dr. Marshall said, no, we're going to do this. And kind of like, he was like, look, saying kind of the same message Kelly gave, which is, we have to help people, whatever the best we can provide, and then find the right providers to provide it. So it's a huge validation for the work that we're doing in the clinic, and for me in terms of the business case. And so I'm just really excited, and
well,
that we were fortunate enough to come our paths cross.
yeah,
My instincts tell me that this is the first of our paths crossing, not the last.
yeah.
And I just want to say, on behalf of all the folks who are going to watch this, and my instincts tell me there'll be many, that we're really grateful. And then, of course, I would be remiss not to say to Kelly, great job to you.
Oh,
And
thank
great
you.
job. This is a testament to your spirit. And yeah, amen. And the fact that, it's, and we'll wind down with this. The likelihood that some human on this planet will have a chance to make an impact on anyone, one
Yeah,
person, two people, anyone,
yeah,
is so tiny, so tiny. And to
yeah,
sit here and have this conversation, and to know, Kelly, the impact that you have had on Casey, and now the chain reaction to the impact that Casey will have on so many people. And I think it'll be a lot. That's
hope
pretty
so.
cool. That's pretty cool, man. You know,
Thank
that's legacy stuff. That's
Tim,
legacy stuff.
Tim, it is, and you've also made me realize that I'm part of the first graduating class,
Mhm.
right? So
100%.
how much better is it going to get?
Right.
We keep going. I tell you, Kelly knows I am constantly nose to the ground,
Yeah.
trying to find what can we add. And, you know, going forward for the clinic, we're looking to add more, the health side of it, right?
Mm.
So in other words, supplementation,
Health and wellness.
peptides,
Yeah.
diet and things like that, which are really important to the sustainability, right? Because we don't want people going through this exercise and then coming back 6 months later and going, hey
Yeah,
man,
yeah, yeah.
right? So we've got maintenance programs that we just put in place that are really cool for post-treatment. So you're never done per se. You've always got to keep your hormones at the right level. That's number one, right?
Yes.
You got to keep your testosterone at an optimal level. So we have memberships for that, and a touch-up gains weight from time to time is probably wouldn't hurt you. So with that, want to say thank you again, Casey. Want to say thank you to you, Kelly, and want to say thank you to all the folks who are going to watch this. Anyone interested in learning more about what we do at Tru-Male, it's trumale.com. That's TRUMALE medical.com. Anybody interested in learning more about REGENmax, go to Tru-Male Medical, click on REGENmax, shoot us a note, give us a call. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. And I want to announce, lastly, Casey has been so gracious to agree. In June, we're going to be our monthly webinar that many of you have attended. Casey has agreed to be the featured panelist and answer any and all questions that you guys have. So we encourage you, come ask him the questions, take advantage of his offer, and hopefully it will help you in your own personal journey. And hopefully you too can end up in the positive place that Casey is. And Casey, you're an example for all of us. So with that, I want to say thank you guys. Wish you all a wonderful night. Enjoy, and amen to you and your girlfriend, Casey. Thank you.